Hi, this is Antoine from TeamLiquid.net. We're here with Eric Matteson. Eric, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Eric Matteson. I'm a senior game producer on StarCraft 2.
All right, so you're a senior game producer. Can you give me a little job description and tell me exactly what you do for Heart of the Swarm?
Sure. So my role is primarily overseeing live operations and multiplayer for both Heart of the Swarm and and Wings of Liberty. My role is basically to maintain the servers and patches and make sure that everything goes out on time. Our downtime is minimum. If anything goes wrong, stay on top of it, make sure it gets fixed.
Awesome. So speaking of going out on time, last week there was the big announcement, March 12th, Heart of the Swarm. Is that pretty concrete date?
Yeah.
What are the biggest obstacles facing the whole team before that date? Biggest challenges?
Well, there's just a lot of work to get done. The team's committed. We're working a ton of overtime to make sure we get it out at an absolutely high level of quality.
Awesome. So what's your feature you're most excited about that's coming in Heart of the Swarm, just personally, as a player?
Well, there's a lot of them, honestly. So probably the two things I'm most excited about, the one as a player is unranked play. I'm a terrible StarCraft 2 player. I love the game. I play a ridiculous amount of it, but I cap out at like 20 APM. Like if I hit 30 APM, I've panicked. And it's just my mechanics are awful. The ability to go in and play unranked, if I want to try a different race, I want to try a different strat, I'm just having an off day, I want to play StarCraft, but I keep losing, I think it adds a ton to the game. The feature that I'm most excited about is actually the customizable observer UI. I actually think that 6 months, a year from now, when we look back at Heart of the Swarm, we're going to see that as one of the key features. I think the ability for us and for our partners to deliver on a user experience that's customized and tailored to the streaming experience and to what our fans want to see. It's basically focusing on a spectator experience for a broadcast event. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't think anyone knows where it goes, but I am so excited about where our community is going to take that. I think it's going to be one of the key features of Heart of the Swarm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think having it built into the game will make it so much easier, not just for the big tournaments, but also the small tournaments, be able to have really professional looking overlays and whatnot. Yeah.
Well, and it's more than just overlays, right? It plugs into the system, so all the stuff that's in StarCraft 2 is available to these guys to build stuff. So you're not limited to just a simple overlay that you have to make sure doesn't interfere with the existing UI, and you have weird pop-ups, and because it's all of that power of this system we've built, where really StarCraft 2 is a platform, right? That whole platform is now available to the observer system.
Awesome. So let's talk about another feature coming in Heart of the Swarm, the leveling system. Is there anything new or changed since it was the big release a couple weeks ago?
Well, it's continually evolving, right? I mean, this was the first iteration. We wanted to get out in front of players and see how they reacted to it, see if the type of rewards that we were giving for it was right, if the pacing of leveling was right. It's continually changing. I mean, we talk about it on the game team pretty much on a daily basis, and we're tweaking and tuning and trying to figure out what the right reward system is, what the right pace, how long should it take you to hit level 20 in a single race, how long should it take you to get to level 60 across all races. It's continually discussed, and we're continually tweaking what XP you get, how fast you get that XP, what rewards you get for it. It's continually evolving.
All right, so speaking of the rewards, I read it was where you're going to get most of the portraits and decals. Is it replacing the achievement system largely, or?
Yeah, it's kind of a different take on the achievement system.
Awesome. And so another thing people, a big problem was people like de-leveling to bronze to spam for achievements. Is there any concern about that with the leveling system?
To some extent, it should be an answer to that, right? Because there's you don't get XP from if you just lost bot your way down to some ridiculous low level of skill and you just auto quit. Right. You get no XP, so you get nothing. So you could lost bot for the next 62 years and you're never going to make level 20.
Right. Awesome. So let's move on to another feature, the UI redesign that was announced. What are the main goals behind that?
If you're playing the beta, you've seen a large amount of it. It's really just delivering on a better experience for our players. And there's a ton of stuff in there, right? The arcade redesign from 1.5 is carried forward, and then we've listened to our community and their reaction to the arcade interface, and we've done further tweaks on that. We've made some of that stuff available to just custom melee maps. We have kind of made it simpler to get to the different pieces of the UI. We've made the UI much more beautiful, I think. Oh, yeah. And then we've revamped the stats system, right? Which is probably one of the big features, particularly for your audience, right? The stats in the beta, I think, are vastly superior, and we continue to look at if we're giving the right stats in the right way, so that we can deliver on that promise.
Right. I remember one specific stat that was mentioned was you can look up your win percentage versus a race or on a map. Is there any thought of doing both at the same time? So you see on Doermi, maybe I'm really good against Terran but bad against Zerg.
So we're continually looking into it. I can't speak to specifically what's going to come out. I mean, the guys are, well, maybe not today because it's Saturday, but and like ridiculously early in the morning because we're in Shanghai. Right. But I mean, every day we're continually looking at it. The UI team is reviewing it, digging into it, kind of figuring out what the right thing to deliver on is, and that was just a first iteration of it.
All right, so going back to the arcade that you mentioned, one thing that was announced a long time ago, maybe beta for Wings of Liberty, was the marketplace, and we've heard maybe a hint or a whisper about it in announcements since, but never really anything concrete. Is there anything you can say about that?
Nothing concrete.
All right, that's too bad. So is there anything that you were trying to maybe get out for the release that you think is probably going to miss and come in a patch soon after?
No, pretty much the stuff that we've talked about, like from Chris Sigady's blog post, is going to be in launch.
Awesome, that's great. And then coming a ways after Heart of the Swarm release, you have in the future Legacy of the Void. Does the foreknowledge of that impact the development cycle for Heart of the Swarm at all?
In terms of do we target features at particular releases? No, that's not how we do things, right? We have a limited number of resources, and we try and put the correct features in every box for the user. So it's basically the highest value, the best thing that we can put in the box to deliver on the promise of that game is what we focus on. And then once that's done, we move on to the next product, and again, try and just deliver an amazing amount of content, an amazing amount of features for our users.
All right, and then I don't know if this is really your area, but the plot, do you have like the whole thing planned out already, or so do you the end point, A Legacy of the Void, does that impact the Heart of the Swarm plot, like any restrictions there, or is it the other way around?
So the story-wise, so it's not me, although I have had some conversations with guys. Yeah, they kind of know where the story ends, but like a lot of authors, they don't necessarily know how they're going to get there.
Right. All right, awesome. So moving on to a community question, a lot of the time players feel like their voices aren't really heard. Like maybe they clamor for a feature like paid name change or more rapid map pool change or community maps. And while sometimes there are features that make it in, like Ohana or Cloud Kingdom make it into the map pool, or shared replay viewing, which is just recently announced coming for Heart of the Swarm. What would you say to the players who feel like their voices aren't being heard?
We're listening, right? The truth of the matter is, we listen. We are on the forums. I know I'm personally on Team Liquid. I'm on Reddit every single day as part of my job, and when I'm at home. We want to hear it. Whether you're clamoring angrily or you're happy, we want to hear it, right? We want to be plugged into what our players are experiencing, right? The single most important thing to us is our players, right? This product is a labor of love. The only reason we work on this is because it's something that we love and we're passionate about it. We are as much fans of the game that we build as you guys are.
Right. And
so we want to hear, right? And I think that the truth of the matter is that we have reacted to it. Now, do we deliver on every feature that every player asks for? We can't, because half the time they're mutually exclusive.
Right.
But we do listen, and we do try and understand why people are asking for what they're asking for, why they're saying what they're saying, no matter how they say it, so that we can deliver on the right feature to address the core underlying need. And that's, look, our whole focus is delivering on an amazing experience to our players. That's why we're here. I can guarantee you that every single person on the StarCraft 2 team is there because they love StarCraft 2. No other reason.
All right, and you were talking about angry clamoring. Recently there was the hashtag Save Heart of the Swarm movement. What was your reaction when you saw that?
So the honest truth is, I loved it. Right? It shows passion for our game. How can I not love that?
Right. And did it maybe change anything or affect anything?
Specific reactions, a lot of the stuff that people were asking for were already things that we had announced, were already things that we were working towards. But again, we were happy to see the passion.
Awesome. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. Is there anything else you wanted to say to get out to the community?
Check out Heart of the Swarm. I think you'll be really delighted with what we've put into it.
Awesome. So this is Antoine from TeamLiquid.net signing out with Eric Matteson.